What's going on? This is Robbie Whiskey here from Whiskey&Winners. Coming to you with a video I'm going to put out here about what I consider to be the bargain buys around the NFL so far this free agent season. This will be part of a 4-part mini series where I will do the bargain buys on offense, which I'm going to do today. The next couple of days, you'll see the bargain buys on defense, what I consider each bargain buy at each position for both offense and defense separated on days. And then what I will pick what I think are the most bloated contracts that were handed out during free agency for both offense and defense, including every position, as the same with the bargain buys. But today we're starting with the bargain buys. These aren't going to be necessarily what I consider the best player, the best player signed, or the most important player signed. These are what I just consider very good value for the signings in which they were signed for. The first one I'm going to go with is Nick Mullins. He got a 2-year, $4.5 million deal, a little over about 2.25 a year there, average value. He's going to go into Jacksonville. He's not going to be a starter, so he's not going to be asked to do that. He'll be a good backup, though, for Trevor Lawrence for 2 reasons. He does hold more career touchdowns than interceptions. That's really the best you can ask for out of a backup quarterback around the league. And he has a 65%, almost 66% completion percentage over the course of his career. And, of course, Trevor Lawrence has been hurt over the last few years with injuries. He's had surgeries, he's had concussions, all those things. So it's good to have yourself a backup that has that kind of capability to step in and play that position. And in this case with Nick Mullins, he's a great backup quarterback for a team that might need to call on him and to get him at a cheap rate. So that's my quarterback bargain buy of this free agent season. The next one I'm going to go with is going to be running back. My running back bargain buy this free agent season so far is Elijah Mitchell. He was signed for 1 year, $2.5 million by the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, they have Pacheco there. They also re-signed Kareem Hunt. So it's going to be a 3-headed monster there. But for that kind of money, you're getting a productive running back. He's been really good for the San Francisco 49ers and their kind of 3-headed monster that they had going on there with CMC, Elijah Mitchell, and whatnot. But the thing is now he's just going to be the backup or the part of this 3-headed monster. You're going to have Isaiah Pacheco probably taking the majority of the carriers. And then you're going to have Kareem Hunt in there. Kareem Hunt, I think, will be used more as a third down back. And I think Elijah Mitchell will do a little of both, where he can play, some of those carries for Isaiah Pacheco to give him a break. And he can play some of the harder carries too. So I think he'll be used in both situations. He has a career average of 4.7 yards a carry. So he's been a very productive player. And then back a few years ago, he had a season which he had almost 1,000 yards. It ended up being like 930 something in that season. And he only played 11 games. So he has the ability to put up yards when needed. He can be called upon. Another player who's not going to be the starter, but he could, if he needs to play big minutes and he needs to play extra minutes due to injuries or whatnot, he's a great player to step in and play those roles. He's not going to be the best in the league, but he's going to be able to float that position for a while. My next pick for my bargain buys so far this offseason is going to be at the wide receiver position. At this position, it was actually a re-signing. This is Washington Commanders signing Noah Brown to a 1-year, $4.5 million deal for a really good number 3 receiver. He really fits the bill there. He's a big, bulky guy. He's 6'2", 225 pounds, so he's a good possession receiver. He's not going to get pushed around at the point of attack. He's going to put up yards. Over the last 3 seasons, he's averaged 525 yards. So if you're looking at it at a 2-3 spot, that's good production. The one thing that I think that pushes him from being more of a top tier is over the last 3 years, he only has 6 TDs. So you'd like to see a guy that's 6'2", 225 put up a few more TDs here and there. But the best that he's going to be able to do is get you yards. 525 yards a season average. If you figure you pencil him for 500 yards at $4.5 million, that's great production there. And I think that he can be successful in that role again for the Washington Commanders. And he gets to stay in the same place for a second year. He's been kind of 3 teams in 3 years. So this might make him actually a little bit better as he's more familiar with the system. Doesn't have to learn a new system for the 3rd time in a row for him. At tight end, it's a little bit harder. I thought there was not many what I consider bargain So I went kind of value on this one. I went Evan Ingram. And he ended up getting a deal of 2 years, 23 million. So about 11 and a half a year average there. I mean, that's not what it's probably going to break down to with the signing bonuses, but definitely getting 2 year, 23 million. I think with him, he's been very productive as a tight end. He's going to the Denver Broncos now, and gives Bo Nix another target. I mean, he's really a guy who can put up yards. I mean, he's kind of averaged about 698 yards a season for over the last 3 seasons. He has had a less productive season last season, but we did see some injuries down there in Jacksonville with the quarterback position, so maybe that did hurt it. Mac Jones had to play more than he wanted to, so that put a little dip in his production there. But I do think that he can be productive with Bo Nix. I wouldn't be surprised to see him hit 5, 6, 700 yards somewhere in there this season. I think he's good value, and he's still young enough, under 30 years old, that he can come in there, give you 2 good years, hopefully. And if not, maybe the contract's written in a way where they can just get out from under it after 1 year without taking much of a penalty there. So it's really no lose situations. The value is good. Production should be good. Like I said, I would be, if I was putting money on it, I would say he'd be plus 650 yards for the season. And then my last pick is going to be along the O line. For me, the biggest value there is an older player, but he was just so productive last season. I think that he's a great value again on a 1 year contract, and that's going to be Kevin Zeitler. He played for the Detroit Lions last year. He's moving on to Tennessee. He signs a 1 year, $9 million contract, a little bit of a bump up from what he made last season. But last season, he graded out as a PFF of 86.8. He finished fifth among all guards in the NFL. He really gives a lot of good production. He is 35 years old, so the long-term contract was never going to come for him. But for a 1 year, $9 million, okay, it doesn't work out. You're done with him next season. You're not holding on to him. You're not having to pay him. Nothing like that. He's there for 1 year. If it's a flop, it's a flop. But there's nothing really to lose in that situation. And all that Tennessee gets to do is find some help along the offensive line for whoever their quarterback is going to be next year, whether that's Will Levis or whether that's somebody else. But we'll see on that one. But those are the breakdowns of what I consider to be the top bargains of this year's NFL free agent season so far. Stay tuned for the video of this for the offense. Stay tuned for my video on the defense sometime soon. Thanks.